Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into the channel. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. We welcome you, and for those of you who are returning, thank you for supporting the channel. It's always really nice to see your comments and your likes and your support. I'm so grateful for that. In today's video, I am doing a walk with me through my sewing room. I just moved into this cute little townhome in Hermiston, Oregon. And for those of you who don't know anything about this area, it is a population size of 17,000 people, so it's not very big at all. And it is near the Tri-City area, and so out here that's like a really big thing. The Tri-City area is basically an area that consists of 3 cities, and that's Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland. Those cities are in Washington, but I'm right on the Washington-Oregon border. Before I get into this sewing tour, the tour of my sewing room, I do want to show you what I'm wearing. The shirt itself, it's not a me made, or it's not something that I've made. This I purchased from Ann Taylor several years ago, and I paired it with the skirt that I made, so I will be telling you a little bit more about the skirt. But this is just a ruffle shirt here going down the neck, and it's a denim look shirt. It's just so cute, but it is a really nice denim look shirt. It's not denim, but it is it has that denim look to it. And I paired it with this Ankara skirt that I made. It has elastic in the waist and pockets on both sides of the skirt. It goes all the way down to the floor. I just love the print. It has these different variations of blue in them, some light blue, baby blue, navy blue. It's just very, very cute. I really like the print. My daughter, she loves skirts with pockets, and I can see why. The reason why I love the pockets in this skirt so much is because they're large pockets, but because the skirt has so much volume in it, the pockets don't stand out, and so you can have these really big pockets on the skirt. The pockets, I just went with just a solid navy color here. I think it's a broadcloth fabric, a blend. So I didn't do anything particular with that, and it's just a really quick and easy make. The pattern that I use is a pattern off of the Joann's, one of the Joann's racks that they have on the floors, and I believe it was See and Sew. Felt like an Ankara print would suit this pattern wonderfully. Once I received the fabric in the mail, I just knew what pattern I wanted to use for it. It was just such a wonderful fabric. There are some drawbacks to buying this fabric, and I think I'll talk about that in a later video. Make a comment below and let me know if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about the fabric or the pattern or both, you know, anything in relation to this make. I really had fun making this make. It's about a 1 to 2 hour project, starting with cutting the pattern out to finishing all the seams. It's very, very simple, very easy. I had a lot of fun making it. And so again, if you want to know more about that, make a comment below and let me know. Okay, so on to the sewing room. As I mentioned before, we just moved into this little townhome. It only has 3 bedrooms. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage townhome. And because it's a 3-bedroom, we are downsizing. We have come from a 4-bedroom. Our house is a 4-bedroom. Use the clutter, but please enjoy the process of my sewing room. I have to kind of organize everything. It's all in a big mess right now. I don't have any ideas on what I'm going to do with the space and how I'm going to organize everything. So I just have all my sewing machines and things like that still waiting to be put together. We still have to bring up the table from the storage unit. Up here, I have a little bit of storage space up here. My plan here is to use half of this closet space for my son's clothing and the other half of this closet space for hanging up my me-made items, and also the top rack here I am going to be storing like my books and some sewing notions and things like that. So that's the plan for this closet. It's not a huge space, and because it's not a huge space, I needed a second closet. We don't have a whole lot of space here in this apartment, and so finding another closet was not easy. And I had to encourage my husband a little bit to let me have the living room closet, and so I'll show you that closet space now. Okay, so this is the living room closet here, and it is somewhat smaller than the bedroom closet, but it does have like the same feature here with the rack up here where you can hang things on. Initially it's supposed to be for hanging your jackets and things like that, but we all agreed to just hang our jackets in our closets. So because I am a photographer and a lot of my photography equipment also needs to be stored in a place where it won't get broken or damaged in any kind of way, I have considered putting my photography equipment in this closet as well with my sewing materials. But I am a little bit concerned about having it in the living room, only because there are no locks on these doors, and I think we'll be spending majority of our time in the family room with our children. I don't want my son to really be going in here and getting access to my photography equipment. So I haven't really considered whether or not I'm going to make that something more permanent, or if I'm going to put it in the other room. I think that for the most part, if I put my equipment on this rack back here up at the top, that he definitely won't be able to get to that. Even with the chair, he's just a little shorty. So but those are some things that I'm considering. So here is an update of my progress so far. It's still basically the first day that I started recording this project, and I only have been able to get the table in, but as you can see, still a lot to do, still a lot of clutter. I need to go ahead and get started hanging up clothing first in the closet, and then when I get my ironing board and my other sewing tables, I will be able to organize my sewing fabrics more neatly. So I think that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead and hang up my son's clothing in here, and then start going through all of the bags and the sewing notions and things to see where I'm going to put everything. Okay, good evening. Well, it's evening for me. It is the second day of working on this project. So literally the second day after we have moved all of our stuff into our apartment. And somehow this room has gotten worse. It is not quite what I had expected. I don't know how it got like this, but I guess just moving a whole lot of things in and out and around and about. But these are all the items, the bags that were in the closet. These are some items that I had collected over the last month or two while we were moving and had some of our items in storage. These are things that were in my car and I just had in the closet. And this is the only window in the room that let in tons of light. So I think I am going to keep this sewing table here. Yeah, so I just still in the process of trying to figure out where they are going to go and what I am going to do. There are things in here that ended up in here that are not mine. So like for instance, this sock crochet book, I'm not even someone who can knit or crochet. This is my daughter's. She that's her expertise. She likes to crochet, and so this is her book and these are her boxes with yarn. So I have to encourage her to get these things out of here and put them in her own room. But yeah, it's worse than I originally had in here. And in this box is my dress form and some other items. So yeah, not much progress here. It looks like I am going backwards instead of forward. So I am currently on day 3 of working on my sewing room, and it is quite the challenge, mostly because I am having a hard time finding space for a lot of my items. Downsizing is definitely harder than I had anticipated. Mostly because I have collected more items since we've moved, and so I'm finding it particularly hard to find space for a lot of my items, even with the extra closet space that I'm using. It's just really hard. I have managed to unpack a lot of my fabric so far. Right now I'm just planning on unpacking the box that has my dress form in it. I have 3 dress forms. The professional dress form that has the collapsible shoulders, I want that to kind of be the center of the room, and so I'm finding it hard to find a spot for it. I do have a couple of corners in the room that I can put my dress form in. It doesn't really look like much right now, but once I unpack all these items, I think that this corner will be really great for the professional dress form. For the other 2 dress forms, they are just regular dress forms that has a styrofoam body. I'm going to possibly put them in this corner over here near the closet. Everyone, we are back in my sewing room, and as you can see, I have significantly reduced a lot of the clutter. Yay! I still have some work to do, as you can see, but as I mentioned in the previous clip, I took out the collapsible shoulder dress form and I was able to get that all put together. I also assembled this dress form as well. This is the dress form I use for my daughter. She is 16, or she will be 16 in September of this year. And this dress form fits her measurements quite perfectly. So that's for my 16-year-old daughter. Now this dress form, this is the dress form that I use for my oldest daughter. She's 18 now. And this dress form fits her measurements quite perfectly. It is also a dress form I use for myself. Today's goal is to get everything off of this table here, and I need to unpack this bag here. This is my traveling bag that I use when I am traveling. It has some sewing items in it, some notions, things that I can get quick access to if I want to sew up a garment real quickly, if I'm visiting a relative. So I need to unpack that bag, put all the notions up. I still need to get to the storage unit to get my 2 shelving units so that I can put my notions on it. I have a few more boxes that I need to unpack, and as you can see, I was able to put up my cutting mat. I am so excited. Things are getting real. Things are getting real. I was able to unpack all my sewing machines. So right now I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes that I have to go through. And this last box here, that box contains my lenses for my camera. So that box, it's not even going to be in here. After I unpack the contents of it, I'll put all those contents in the closet with the rest of my photography equipment. So that'll take care of that box. So right now I am down to 4 boxes, and what I really need to do in order to unpack those boxes, I need to go to the storage unit, get those shelving units, and then I can start getting all of that stuff unpacked. So that is the goal for today. This is day 4, and I am hoping to accomplish all of these things today. My husband and I, we will only have one thing to do, and that is to put up the pegboard system on this back wall here, above the ironing table. So these are the boards that I purchased from Home Depot, and basically we got a really long 8-foot board, and we cut 4 boards at 48 inches. I can use these boards as the base. So we're creating this base so that we don't have to put so many screws into the wall. The screws will go into the wood here and not the wall. So we're just going to use a few nails to put these boards onto the wall, and then screw the pegboard system onto the base here instead of the wall. So that is the plan, and that's pretty much the only thing that would need to be done to this room. Okay, so it is officially day 5 of working on this project, and I have managed to get everything out of the boxes. I do have one box, but I'm not really concerned about it right now. It's just some odds and ends. I was going to put the other storage unit on this wall here. I do have the space for it technically, but I don't want the room to look cluttered, so I've decided not to put the second black storage unit in the room. I have found that for me, the more space that I have available, the more things that I will collect. So I'm not going to worry about putting that shelf up because I don't want to have any clutter. So for right now, that's where I'm at. I still have to unpack this bin here with the serger threads and things like that in it, but I can't do that until my husband put the pegboards on the wall. So that's where I'm at right now, and everything's coming along quite beautifully, and I will continue to document this process until it is finished. I hope you guys are having a great time looking at my ideas and my organizational system. There is more to come, so stay tuned for the final reveal of my sewing room.
Alright, so today we're going to hang plastic pegboard onto our wall. We want to do minimal damage to the wall, so we are going to use thin nails to attach 1x2 boards to the studs in the wall so we can have maximum strength. If you just hang it from the sheetrock will break too easily and collapse. So our first step is we want to find a measurement from the bottom of the pegboard to where the hole is going to be. I'll take my measuring tape and measure that right now. The nice thing about pegboards, these pegboards, is that the holes are all the same distance top to bottom. That means when I hang it, all I have to do is measure 3 inches from the same reference point, and I'll have a nice straight line. Now we want to center our pegboards with our shelving unit. So I've gone ahead and I have placed them down against the wall, centered. Those are going to be my reference points for where I measure up 3 inches from for my first board. It looks like 3 inches right there. That is basically 3 inches from the top of this unit. There's a little bit of padding, so we'll give or take about 1/8 of an inch. I'll grab my stud finder and locate the studs. Once I know where my studs are, then I'll start putting marks for where I'm going to actually attach this. So we just put the stud finder on the wall, move it along until we find a stud. Now it lights up and it gives you an approximate location of the center of your stud. All studs are 2 inches wide. So when you move this, you'll see the light covers about 2 inches.
what's the distance between each board?
Alright, so the mounting holes for our pegboard, from the bottom one to the top one is 10 inches. So I'm centering 10 inches from this board to the middle of this board. Just like this. So it goes, you measure from the middle of the board to the middle of the next board. That's how you want to center it for maximum strength in the wood. If you get too close to one of the edges, then it's likely to split and break.
How many inches far apart are each board?
These are 10 inches between the two of them.
Okay.
They're 48 inches long to cover 3 sections of pegboard. And then to make sure I do things straight, I'm using the wall and the ceiling as an additional reference point. So I've measured how far this board is from the wall here. It's 20 and a half inches. So I put this one at 20 and a half inches. The next one's going to be 20 and a half inches. And then to make sure that I'm level, I go to the ceiling. And it's 39 and a quarter inches. So I come over here, measure up to the ceiling, 39 and a quarter inches. That way, whatever's on here is going to be nice and flush.
Okay, so this is my progress thus far after my husband put the pegboard on the wall. I am trying to put the scissors higher up on the pegboard so that way my son won't be able to reach them. I ideally, I don't want him to be able to get access to it at all, but realistically, I know that he is going to probably climb this shelving unit and try to get access to a lot of these things. Mostly he won't be in this room when I'm not in here, but as you know, the life of a 3-year-old, you can't always control all of their actions. I'll try to make this brief because I already have a lot of footage on this video, but I just wanted to show you some of my progress and what I am doing here. My plan is to put all of my rulers on this top left section of the pegboard. I have all my needles down here, starting with my stretch needles. So this is my twin stretch needle, and then underneath of it I have a package of stretch needles for my knit fabrics, and then I have some regular needles and my jean needles and hand needles. And so the plan is to keep the needles in this section here. I do have a lot of liquid items, things that I definitely don't want my son to get a hold of. I am going to try to put these items higher on the pegboard. I'm finding that I don't have as much space as I would like to have, but that's what I need to do. I still have quite a bit to do. Most of these items are just odds and ends, things that I just need to put someplace.